What up? This is Melvin Junko. Today we're diving into a topic I think is super important in the world of hip hop. This is another producer chat video. Wanted to say what up to everybody off the beats. But what we're going to be talking about is why sample-based beats will always be king. And we're talking about how I create beats, why sampling is so important, and why it's a lost art that needs to be respected. So no fluff, no filler, just straight facts about why the style of beat making is never going away. Let's go. Part 1. Why sampling is the heart of hip-hop. Sampling is the foundation of hip-hop, no question about it. It's how the whole genre started. It's how it's evolved over time. But why? It's all about digging. It's about finding the hidden gem in the crates. It's about bringing something old to life in a brand new way. When you sample, you're not just taking a piece of music. You're taking a moment in time, something that was recorded decades ago, maybe even forgotten about, and you're breathing new life into it. Your own techniques. In the early days of hip-hop, producers had limited equipment, limited access to records, and no internet to rely on. It was all about creativity, finding ways to manipulate sounds and create something fresh. That's what keeps this culture alive. It's not just about the beat itself, but it's what the sample represents from history, and again, making something new out of it. It represents history, emotion, your own individual taste in music, bringing it into your own music. And when you dig for the records, when you chop the samples and layer them in your beat, it becomes something brand new, something unique. That's the power that sampling has in an artistic person's way of creating. Now, part 2, how the MPC and SP machines help me keep it real. So let me take you back a little bit. My story with beat making started in a friend's basement. My friend's brother had an MPC. We'd hang out. We'd be listening to Wu-Tang albums, Nas, Mobb Deep, you name it, Big Pun, Big L, all the legends. A lot of East Coast stuff, a lot of West Coast stuff too. I know I named a few East Coast artists, but we were just into hip-hop. Well, we'd listen to those albums. We'd pass the MPC around, loading up chops, tapping out drums, bass lines, chopping up samples, trying to come up with new drum rhythms and just trying to replicate what we heard on some of those albums. It was all about that gritty sample-based hip-hop. We didn't care about any mixing, any mastering, or any the business side of things. We just cared about making the music. We wanted to make something raw, something real, just like what we were hearing on those albums. That's how I got hooked. I never wanted to leave that feeling behind. And that's why to this day you'll notice I just get out here and bang out beats, and I leave it at that. No need for any extra edits or fluff or any gimmicks, anything like that. I just hop on and I show my process. I'm one of the few out of our little crew back in the day that's still consistently putting out music and doing what I love. I mean, life happens. You fall away from things, but I don't think I'll ever fall away from hip hop and making beats. It's just who I am. And that's why I also like gear like the MPC and the Roland SP machines. They keep me grounded in that raw, unpolished approach to beat making. I get asked all the time about my setup, so I'm going to talk about it for a second. For me, I keep it real simple. I work with the MPC 2000 XL and SP303 and 2 SP404 SXs. Those are my tools. They're perfect for what I do because they force me to stay creative. I'm not relying on a software, something that I have to make sure I'm up to date on computer programs, and I don't have 12,000 plugins that I'm trying to pick from. I'm not clicking a mouse or scrolling through endless samples. I'm not drawing out on the screen what I want to be hearing. It's to me that's counterintuitive to making music, is drawing it. It doesn't make sense to me. What makes sense is playing the music with my hands, hearing it in my ear, and adapting as I'm playing the music. So when you check out my videos of me making beats, you'll see how my process works. Move to part 3. The art of chopping, manipulating, and creating. So let's talk about the process itself. Chopping, manipulating, and creating the beat. This is where everything happens. A lot of producers try to skip this step, but the key is to creating a dope beat is really how you pick and handle the sample that you're hearing and putting into your machine. First, I start by finding the right sample, something with soul, something that speaks to me. Once I have it, I'll chop it up into smaller pieces. Maybe I'll loop a section, or maybe I'll rearrange the chops into something totally new. The good thing about sampling is that you can take something familiar and put a twist on it and make it unrecognizable. It's all about adding your own flavor. I layer the drums with the sample. I usually do the drums first. I love getting that crunchy, raw sound from the SP303 and the MPC. Those kind of have iconic, warm, full sounds to them. And so those machines really bring out what I like to consider my signature sound. And again, I'm not trying to make it polished or perfect. I just want it to feel real and authentic, like it came from, a human instead of robotic. I want it to have a feeling like it puts you in a zone. Like the sample was dug out of a dusty crate in the basement somewhere, with a flickering light bulb on the ceiling. That kind of vibe. You find the zone and you kind of know when that sample hits based on some records that you're going through. When you found it because you can just feel it. There's also no need to try to fake it. If you're listening to something and you're not feeling it, then you're not feeling it. Don't use that. Play something until you feel it. And don't try to make yourself think that you need to find something that somebody else might have used to make a hip hop beat. You're overthinking it and trying to put yourself in somebody else's zone. At the end of the day, when you're listening to vinyl, if you hear something you like, that's the one. Once you get that sample, start chopping things up, laying things out, that's when it really comes alive. After the samples, drums, and bass lines, I'll add some effects, maybe a little reverb, some vinyl wobble. But I always keep it raw. That's the main thing. It's what I love about the process. The imperfections are what gives it character. It's not about making something perfect, making sure it's perfectly on time. I don't quantize anything. If it sounds off, it sounds off. That's because I made that mistake, and that's my contribution to the piece of work. And it's personal. Yeah, I'll always prefer this style of beat making, over anything else. I've tried to do other styles, but I found my groove, and that's what I stick with. All right, so part 4, the DIY spirit and digital tools in today's day and age. Back in the day, when I was just starting out, I didn't rely on the internet very heavily for self-promotion. It was all about DIY. I used to go out, do everything myself, design my own albums, print out my own merch, take it from venue to venue, party to party, performance to performance, out in the street, backpack full of CDs and shirts, going out to parties, rocking on a PA system, do a show at a venue all on the same night sometimes. This was a regular thing. We'd have CDs, merch with us, and freestyling, and just repping what we did. And if the music was good enough, people bought your stuff. And if you had skill, people rocked with you. And that's kind of how it was. If you weren't out showing improving, then you weren't out there. And so that's kind of the mentality that I came up with, and letting the music speak for itself. Nothing flashy, no gimmicks. It was just getting in the thick of things and showing what you can do. And if you had it, you had it. If you didn't, you didn't. And people would let you know if you didn't. So that's kind of why I started this live streaming and this YouTube channel, is because the internet is kind of like a new venue to me, or a new party with a PA system to me. I can create, share, and engage with an audience without even having to leave my house. But it's just like, it's the same thing, but you're able to do it digitally. So yeah, that's why I started this channel, because it helps me stay connected with you guys, and it feels like I'm still in that same raw DIY mindset that started it all for me. So but yeah, now we're in the digital age, where AI and software are, you can't pretend that they're not changing everything. Don't get me wrong either, I'm not against technology, but one thing I want to mention is how AI could actually help the process of sample-based beat making, if approached correctly. I mean, imagine having an AI system that you punch in your preferred uh, music style or genre or vibe that you're going for, whether it's soul, jazz, or something obscure with a different feeling attached to kind of the sample that you're looking for. You punch that in, and then it generates a 60-second loop for you to throw in your MPC and chop it up and make a beat out of. I mean, that would be crazy. I'm not going to sit here, as a self-proclaimed, purist beat maker that definitely prides himself on honoring the traditional style of hip hop and its foundations. I'm not going to sit here as somebody like that and claim that wouldn't be dope. It would be. I'd use it. I'd love it. Um, yeah, that kind of tech could be a game changer for producers, especially for those of us who are out digging in the crates looking for that perfect sample. Like I said, it could save you time, but at the end of the day, it still wouldn't replace that joy and fulfillment that I get when I go out and dig through some crates and find a gem, and bring it home, put it on my turntable, and find something to chop up and make an entire beat out of that ends up being a dope song. So that whole process, nothing will replace it, but we're in the day and age of tech, and you can't front and say that AI system creating samples based on your preferences wouldn't be absolutely dope. So, out of all of this being said, we're kind of creeping up towards a little longer than I wanted to make this video, but those are the reasons why sample based beat making in the world of hip hop, in my opinion, will always be king. It's more than just finding the right sample. It's more than taking somebody's music. It's about the process, the creativity, the soul, and the approach of the artist who is taking this piece of history and flipping it into their own piece of music. Yeah, I mean that is and has always been what's given hip hop its heartbeat. You know, a very big piece of it at least. Because you had obviously your different elements of hip hop that that's a whole topic for another video. But at the end of the day, you have to acknowledge the core and the heart of the culture, and that's this right here. You're kind of at the root of things when you're rocking sample based beat making. Anyway, let's wrap it up. If you rock with what I do, make sure to hit the subscribe button if this is the first video that you've seen of mine. I got a gang of beat making videos. That's what I do. I don't usually sit here and talk too much. I got a couple of these, but my main thing is I'm on the machines, and I'm just giving you raw, uncut beat making. And like I said, I'm not into heavy editing and effects and making things look fancy and um, gimmicks or trying to be funny or anything like that. I'm just here to make beats, man. That's it. Peace to everybody that is tapped in with the channel and staying on board. We're definitely building a community with this channel, and that's why I did it. Like I said, it's a way to bring people together with similar interests and just have fun and make good music, man. That's it. Anyway, see you on the next video.